Test, test, test. Hey, AJ, man. It's good to see you, my brother. I don't know if you snuck in the last couple times and I didn't see you or something like that, but I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been doing, man? Oh, man, I'm getting started early today. It's yeah, 10 a.m. in Ohio. Oh, okay, that's cool. Hey, Dev. 10 a.m. in Ohio, so that's Eastern time, right? Hey, hey, Sheila. Oh, what's up? What's up, Stacy? How you doing? That was great that you put a little video up or whatever. I know you guys are on Discord and everything, but it'd be nice to see your stuff once in a while. I know you're not with Sven anymore, right? So you got somebody new. Do you still do shows with Sven, or um, do you do shows with the your right? Oh, that's right. Your dad passed away, AJ. I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's you know what? It's probably good busy, even though oh my God, I remember when my dad passed, he was young, he was like 60, and one of the hardest things, one of the hardest things. So I feel for you. She's like, boo. Is it boo as in like a ghost, or is it like boo? I can picture like, like I don't know if you ever watched South Park. I watched it when it first started, like the very first. I mean, it was horrible from the start, right? Just evil, but when you're lost and you're young and all that, it's so funny, And it's like, or like Mr. Mackey was coming in to talk to them, right? And they're like, "Okay, here's Mr. Mackey class," and the kids are like, "Boo!" And then Mr. Mackey's like, "Who said that? No, who said that?" It just reminded me of school, just how it was. Who said that, okay? I don't know if you guys remember that. But yeah, well, I guess I'm dating myself, huh? I'm getting old. And then I'm trying to watch all this stuff with the vaccine, right? See there again, I said the stupid word. Now I'm gonna be okay. So I gotta kind of dance around this now. I've been watching some stuff on the potion, and there's just a lot of like, there's a lot of math, right? And like mechanical manipulation is like a perishable skill. It's like running. It's like if you don't run every day, then it's hard to run. It's like that. Like especially when you have more than two or three variables. And these spike proteins, I'm trying to understand how they work. Like I mean, I don't know why this doesn't terrify people that there's even such a thing that could even change your DNA. I mean, we're talking about like who you are on paper. Like the blueprint that God put out for to make you, right, is being edited. I mean, that doesn't terrify. I mean, that terrifies me. And I couldn't imagine. I get it. Like if no excuse for not knowing about what stuff is, right? But I could understand if you don't think in a conspiratorial way, right? You live a pretty decent life. You don't have like a guilty conscience, right? And so you just suspect that everyone is a good person, right? And so you go through life, you got a good job, you're taking care of your kids, you got a generally happy life, right? Someone says, "Hey, take these shots you need, for work or whatever," and a guy just does it and rolls with it, right? I mean, I could see that, right? But I mean, maybe I can justify that, But like to me, it's terrifying, right? It's terrifying not to know what is going in your body. I mean, I don't know how I can explain it in any other words. Well, yeah, well, it says cancer, and then they use the same treatment. They will never find a cure for cancer. There's too much money in never finding a cure. Yeah, and that's if they even want to cure it. Like, that's assuming that they want you to live. That's their ultimate goal. I believe that there are doctors that want to treat your symptoms. They have a desire to do that, to keep you out of suffering. But I don't think the overall goal, for these elite people is for us to live longer. You know, I, I think they don't want us to die of certain stuff. And it's just, it's heartbreaking. To see that's one of the reasons you could tell that there's a God, right? Is that, if there was no God, right, they would just kill us, because we eat up all the resources. Like if there was no rules, they would just use the military to just wipe us all out. And they'd be able to do it. This would be the only tough country to do that in. I mean, so I know that there's some kind of rules. We got to consent somehow to it. And if they put like the ingredients on food, right, and you eat it, then you're consenting to what's in there, right? They figure they've told you. And maybe that's the deal. Like, I don't know, like, exactly how the rule with God and the devil, right? But the book of Job sets some precedents, right? As to that, the devil can't just attack you, right? Like, if you resist him, he will leave you alone. And only in cases where God allows it to happen, right, will it happen. And it will end up being for his good and maybe for your benefit. And so it's made very clear that, like, if we flee from him, or if we resist his temptation, that he will flee from us. And so instead of thinking in big groups, right, like I'm in this group or I'm in that group, I'm anti this, I'm pro this, right? If you just handled your own self, right, and resisted the temptations of Satan, I don't think that he wouldn't be non-existent. I mean, people create all the evil. I mean, it bothers me when people want to blame God for things that are rough, or that are hard, or whatever. When the Bible gives us like a clear way to avoid Satan. To if we can resist the temptations of things that we want to do that aren't good for us. And yeah, he will leave us alone, right? But if we consent to the lies, consent to eating the foods, right, consent to listening to the sounds that could affect us, right, consent to watching all the images, right? I'm guilty of this too, right? Nobody's perfect. I'm not on a soapbox right now. I'm just saying all of these things are variables, right? But in a sense, we do consent, right? We do consent to it. And whatever you take in, this is what that we reap what we sow. And it's getting to the point, right, where it's almost like you can't avoid sin. I mean, it's getting to that point where, like, you're going to end up doing something. And you're right, Michigander, due diligence, right? But here's the thing, right? Is everybody like that, right? I mean, is that our gift, right? To ask the second and third and fourth questions, right? Is that something that, like, okay, God gave you that gift, God gave me that gift, and most of the people here in chat. But like, there's some people that are good at other things, maybe encouraging others, or you know, um, things like that, right? Oh, my son is here. Hey guys, this is my son. He knows me in real life, so I better walk the walk. I like it when there's people that know me in real life and know what kind of a person that I am, so you guys know I'm a real person. I don't know if my son's ever seen me mad before. But yeah, man, so like we consent to these things, right? Like, okay, so these are things that I think about, right? Like, okay, let's say on the back of a box of Twinkies, right? There's some kind of ingredient that is not good for us, right? We don't know what it is really, and it's not bad for us, but it's not good for us either. And it's kind of weird that it's in there, but it just goes unnoticed, right? And then let's say that there's an ingredient in some kind of soda pop, right? It's not good for us. It's not really bad for us, but it's odd that it's in there, but we consent, by drinking that, right? Now, what if the chemical in the first food, right, and the chemical in the second thing, right, together is harmful for us? I think about things like that, like how many layers are these deceptions, right? And and how many deceptions are more simple than that? Like, does it apply to the lowest common denominator? Or are you only held accountable for what you know how to do? That kind of thing. Hey, thanks for saying that, son. That's nice of you to say that. I try to be nice. I don't get upset that easy, that's for sure. Oh yeah, hey Will, I sent Cole, right? This like video that Cindy sent me, like it's got that's like their models or something like that. Like, and they're like 8 feet tall or something crazy with big old long skinny arms, right? And they look kind of like robots, really, because they don't look real because they're all shiny. And then one of them was like wiping her head with a towel and put a towel down, so it's a real person, right? And I sent that to your brother, right? Your younger brother, and he was like, "Yeah, so." And I'm like, "What do you mean, yeah, so? That's like 8 feet women. It's like that's not normal. Like number one, like, okay, one of those things would be odd. Like a tall woman, 8 feet tall, would be an oddity, right? And but like a tall 8 foot woman that is like all shiny, that's another oddity, right? And that's like has big old long skinny arms, that's another oddity, right? So it's like all these oddities. Yeah, did you, Cindy, describe what these things are, man? Like, they did look like like some kind of alien or some kind of genetic. Of course, space isn't real, right? We know that there's no outer space. They, that was an evil lie. It's sad that we can't get more people to understand that. But so there's no alien from outer space, but there's definitely could be other land anywhere, that we don't know about. There's so many like questions now that like YouTube up until about 2007ish, I want to say, was mostly like cat videos and people putting their kids online, goofy stuff, sharing content, right? And then like it started getting good, like people were, scrutinizing the official stories, right? Scrutinizing the authorities in these different subjects, right? And so let's say you have a guy in like Wisconsin that's good at like scrutinizing, photographs or whatever. And then you have someone that's over in New York that's good at like, particle physics, right? He has a good understanding of that, right? And then you have somebody that's got a good understanding of like, so like these people are all spread out, right? And then you start scrutinizing the information they gave us over the course of our lives, right? And you start finding out, right, that I mean they told, like everything is a lie, right? Starting from like, you come from a monkey, everything just exploded out of nowhere. Some rain cloud just appeared and started raining on this flying rock. I mean, really, it's stuff that's like, it's not even reasonable to believe how it started. Yeah, they are weird looking. They are weird looking, Will. But see, that makes you think, right? Like that, because religion was one of the first things I threw out when I was, learning like evolution and space and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, there's no way that if they didn't know that all that stuff was out there, then how are these people talking to God? I was thinking there was no way to reconcile that, right? And then when you learn that, like, okay, well, now that you pop out of the brainwashing, we're obviously not moving. I mean, that's not even a question. It's not. I can't believe I ever believed I was moving, but um, then you're like, oh, wait, let me grab that Bible. It's starting to make sense now. And then you start seeing weird things, like man, there was giants, right? People were bigger. These buildings and pyramids and things, right? Like we can't build them today. How did they build all these beautiful buildings and castles with like horses and ropes and stuff? Like they didn't have any tractors or any kind of like, like they all did that by hand, all that stained glass and painted ceilings and just beautiful palaces and temples and stuff. And it's just something crazy. And then like of course, like they can't create life in a lab. I mean, that's very telling that they can't do that under the perfect circumstances, meaning that no life can be created without God, right? But I think that they're definitely doing something to like manipulate like living creatures to like form mutations, right? And I don't think that they've been able to, from what I know, I don't think they've been able to make an animal have a mutation that's been beneficial, like where um, uh, they've like, added something to a bird's wing that can make it fly better than the way God already made it. It's always some kind of mutation to make that animal some kind of freak. And see, the reason that's important, right, is because in order to have like, say you have simple DNA and you're adding information to the DNA to have something that's better than you be your offspring, right? You would have to rely on a mutation to happen that would benefit the offspring. Is Rowan here? Because I wanted to have Rowan up here today, but if he's not, that's cool too. I mean, I feel bad if I pressured him at all. And I wanted to have like have BB up one day. I think that would be nice. Or any of you guys really, like if any of you guys want to come up, just like on my community page, or like if you got my email or whatever, message me and then we'll work it out. Because I like having these conversations about how you guys got started in finding out like these truths, right? That um, like you started finding out about these lies that we were told, and you try to tell like your loved ones and your family, right? And not only do they not get it, right, but they don't even want to hear it, right? It triggers them, right? And so like throughout your process of like becoming a truther, right, being able to even hear the truth, right, which I think is a skill in itself, right, and then being able to process that, hey, look, what I was told in my life is wrong, and everything is meant to separate me from God, right? That's a huge paradigm shift, and so it's tough. It's very tough, and it's getting to the point now where you know the fact that God exists is like obvious now. It's not even a question, right? And you do a little bit of digging, right? And you find out that Jesus is our Lord and Savior, and that's like you really don't even have to do much digging, right? It's like we have moon missions named after the Antichrist, right? We have the Statue of Liberty looks like Helios holding up a torch, and we got all these things, right, that are like a salute to the Antichrist. We got a obelisk in Washington with like the dimensions of it are all occultic numbers. And this isn't stuff that's hard to find out. It's easy to find out. Then they want you to take a shot. Oh yeah, take this shot. This will help you out, man. It make it so you don't get sick. And this is the same government that readily admits to Tuskegee experiments, right? A lot of people are talking about that, right? That this government gave people syphilis, Americans, and watched them die untreated. And so if a person is questioning the jab, right, and that's unreasonable, if somehow it's unreasonable to say, hey, can you tell me what's in this potion and what it'll do to me long term? And I'm a little bit distrustful of the government. Like if you say those things, right, that's somehow unreasonable, and that you shouldn't be able to shouldn't be able to go to the store or cash your check or do whatever. And what's going to happen, right, is there's going to be these people that are going to say, yeah, I mean, I might as well just get the shot, that way I just so I can move on, right, in life, right? I just get the jab, and I can go to work or go to the store, and it's nothing, just do it, right? Well, yeah, okay, that's one jab, right? Then you got to keep doing it, right? Every 6 months, right? They're gonna ask you to do another jab and another jab, and you got to have your record caught up in order to to have one that counts, And so you're right. I mean, we're at a point, right, where um, you know, and I agree with Sasquatch on his philosophy of just separate ourselves from the world, right, and just enjoy life, like the people that are around us. Like I get that. Bible tells us to do that, right? And so like I totally get that, and I know talking about this stuff sometimes wears on us, right? Like the negativity or whatever about it, right? But I mean, it's also good to know, right? That hey, man, this is real, man. Don't be naive about what's going on here. There might be some issues that whether the Lord's coming back or not are worth dying for, because we will eventually be with Him. And so that's the way it is. Yeah, I wanted to have Rowan up here, and I hope that I didn't, by asking him, a couple times. I hope I didn't, make him nervous or anything like that. I know he does content, so I can't imagine that that's it. And it also could be that I'm late a lot too, so I'm not very consistent on time. And, I'm kind of upset about that. Like, I want to be more on time. And I got all my resources lined up for to improve my telephone, right? They just didn't have it in stock, so I got to figure that out. And so they didn't have the one that I wanted. I live in the hood. They only had like the medium good phone, you know what I mean? So I have to take a chance to get like the best phone I can get, because I won't be able to afford another phone for a few years, So it's important that I do it right this time, And if I could turn some of the resources into money, I'd like to I don't know, maybe I can get a tablet or something like that. But everything is currency nowadays. Like if you have something of value, or you could do something of value for somebody, you could trade that for things. And I guess growing up poor, you learn that everything that you have is money. And I get it, if you grew up and you had like money and stuff like that, you probably didn't think of your toys as like as currency that you could trade for things. But if you didn't have a lot of money growing up, you did think about things like that. Like, what can I trade to get this or that or whatever. And it's just weird. It's weird what we have to learn as I think that it's all planned out for us. Like, because the narrative is done, right? I mean, it's us having free will doing it, right? But it's also created all the way to the end, you know? And time isn't that we're going to go anywhere. Like, we're not traveling in time forward, right? We're always here in this space that we're in. And it's never ahead or backwards. It's just everything that ever was existed right here in this space. And so that's interesting to me. That's interesting to me. Sometimes I forget what I'm talking about because I like your conversations too. I keep up with some of the stuff you guys talk about. Yeah, Cindy's funny sometimes. What do you mean quit? Oh, nitwit. No, that's cold-blooded. I hope you weren't trying to call each other nitwits. But anyway, so so how are you guys doing today? It's Sunday, it's kind of the day that they've brainwashed us into believing that this is the day we celebrate God. And ever since like reading the Bible for myself and becoming like what I think to me is a more real Christian, right? I feel like a more real follower of God. Every day is a good day for that. Wow, I'm happy to see some of you are just kind of popping in there, not really regulars, but I'm glad to see you. Hey, Cold Steel. What's up, Richie? Hey, Pamela. She called me Stevie like a few days, like, I don't know, is that a couple weeks ago? She's like, hey, Stevie. And I'm like, oh, I don't like that. So I was like, hey, Pammy, right? Thinking it would have the same effect. But then I think it stuck, and now I think I got a nickname that I don't like. I think it's stuck or something like that. I was hoping that she would be like, that she wouldn't like it. But I don't know. Maybe it'll get. I know I don't like it, but it's all good. Whatever. Because my brother, we've always called him Danny. No, don't be sorry. It's one of those things that happens. Sometimes you walk into a situation, you end up with a nickname that you'd never intended to have or something, and it's not a bad thing. You know. I mean, how do we know? How, we're all online existing on a little dot, right? I mean, that's not you in that little circle. That's just a little circle on the screen, but we're trained to believe that that's us there, Oh, that's me right there. I'm typing, Oh, Cindy. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Called the neighborhood kid. Well, you know what? I wasn't ever in a neighborhood long enough to like have a reputation, Like we were always getting evicted, having to travel from, apartment to house to house, whatever, And every 6 months we would get evicted or something, and sometimes we had, some time to plan about that, and sometimes it was like, go ahead and grab 3 toys and let's get out of here. And but those were like, okay, so yeah, you can call them tough times or whatever, but sometimes I think back on those times, right, as some of the best times, right, that our family overcame that. Hey, Faith, is your middle name? I gotta, I gotta. I don't know if that was today or whatever. Sometimes some of your old ones get recommended to me. Your old videos. Is your middle name really Patience? Your name is Faith Patience. I think that's amazing. Your parents must have been awesome. If that's real. I don't know. No, it isn't, Richie. Really? That's amazing. Oh my God. That's so awesome. Yeah, I don't know. Well, when I found out what my name meant, right, I was like, I wonder if God, like, like if our names were picked way before, seeing as how the beginning is created from the end, like if he knows the whole story right before it even starts, right? And so, like, were our names created to be what they are, to mean what they mean, right? To describe kind of, how we are as people. And so, like, to know that my name means crown, right? And my last name means blessed or holy one, which that's just weird, isn't it? Your name means moon goddess? That's pretty cool. Faith patience, man. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Yeah, I haven't had a dog in a long time. I haven't I haven't had a dog since I was like, I don't know, before I left for the army. When I was in training, my dog got put to sleep, so it was kind of devastating. So I just never. Well, this is what's crazy about Tony that you brought him up. Is that Tony Miranda, if you rearrange the letters, is anatomy rod, and I wonder if that's just fake. Like, because you know how like these elites, man, are like immature like that, right? They would be immature like that, and you wonder like, did they? Is this guy working a job and they just gave him that name, and just did a name jumble? I don't know, man. Who knows anymore? Well, I mean, you don't want to tell people your first name, do you, Cindy? No, yeah, I remember the Starno one. Yeah, I mean, to me, when anybody that puts Star in their name, right, is like that's kind of like satanic, isn't it? Like, I mean, could be fallen angel ish, but you know, I don't know. Anytime you have Star in your name or anybody tries to add Star, it's like usually some kind of Satan reference. or there'll be a star and a lightning bolt, and the happy face with the star eyes. That's enlightenment by Satan or whatever. It's weird. You learn the symbolism, right? And then you have like friends, right? And you're like, oh man, there's one eye symbolism, and there's some black and white checkerboard stuff. I mean, there's no way you're gonna be a truther and have black and white checkerboard stuff, because you would know that truthers know what that is. Like, you're obviously sold out. And don't think that I don't know, right? If like, okay, I won't say 100%, but like, um, if somebody's inverted, right? I'm gonna know. Like, I'm gonna be able to like see the features or whatever. So I don't say anything because it's like awkward to bring it up, but I know. You know what I mean? Sometimes I wonder, like, you know, are are they told that they can't be saved, or do they know they can be, or is it a choice, or I want to know more of those questions. But you don't ever really get to, like, I've had a couple people talk about it with me, that talked about that kind of thing, but normally you don't find people that want to talk about that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, well, when Tom first yeah, once you see, you can't unsee. You can't come to the truth and then go back. But I'll say this, right? Like, when me and Tom started this channel, Tom had this picture of him in his dog but the dog's ear was covering up his eye. And I say, "Oh, you can't use that picture, man." He's like, "What are you talking about, man?" I said, "No, that's you're doing one eye symbolism." And he's like, "Oh no, it's just me and my dog." I'm like, "Yeah, but our people know what that is, man, and they're gonna know." And so he picked a different kind of one. Because you want to avoid that stuff. You want to avoid the like, even though every number belongs to God, I'm not afraid to say any number, right? But if I can avoid it, I will. I mean, if I can avoid see my head tilted so you can see both my eyes, and I have a long, skinny head, so I had to really tilt my head to fit in that circle. If you can see my head right there, I have a long, skinny rocket head. Yeah, and I have to really tilt it so that you can see my whole head there. And then I got both my eyes. Stop putting pics in my mind. No, don't worry about all that face. I mean, that's the way it is. Yeah, yeah, your mom did. She called me Beaker from the Muppets. From the Muppets. If you look them up on Google, you're gonna laugh, Will. It's like a Muppet with a long skinny head and like little hair on the top. Yeah, your mom was funny back then. That's a good lady. There was a whole lot of things I didn't have to worry about because of her. Oh man, it's just what a good day. Got to see my oldest boy. He's 21 now. I can't believe it. In my mind, he's still my baby. But in real life, you know what I mean? He's bigger than me. So it's kind of hard for your head to reconcile that. Oh yeah, the good old days. It is what it is. I mean, I don't know. Like, we all have an uphill climb in life, right? Everybody's got something, right? You were the last one of your friends to turn 20. Oh, you were hanging out with kind of like an older crowd. See, I was always the oldest one in my friend group. Because when I joined the army, I was already like 22 or something like that, and so most of those guys were 18, 19, you know. Yeah, and some bases like they would let guys over 18 buy beer. It depended on what your commander, like it was a command decision. But I look back on those army days as good days, you know. I miss those guys. I still talk to some of them. I know time flies, Luke, man. I mean, my youngest is 18. I mean, he's bigger than the he's bigger than the older one. They're both bigger than me. And they got big old feet, big old skis. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm blessed, man. Like for everything that I put into life, right? And for how it's turned out for me, I got to say that I'm pretty blessed. Like I feel like I've gotten more than I deserve in life, and I've got like super cool friends that are like like really good to me. I never run out of like people to talk to and people to message back, right? I mean, I'm always in contact with people, either helping them or they're helping me, right? And it's like I hear from my youngest son probably every day, and my oldest son maybe every couple days, right? And yeah, Cole is big. Well, he used to be like about 270 pounds, right? And now he's at around 215, so he's much better, a much better weight, and I'm glad he took responsibility of that. But yeah, he was big like a football player, but he's kind of soft, he's just soft inside, just a mild kind of person. But I mean, like if he worked out and like had that mindset or whatever, he had a pretty good body for to do whatever if you wanted. My oldest one, he's got the mindset. Go out, he wants to go out and compete. Go out and be up 10-0 and still play defense. You guys are so awesome today. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and round out so that way I can get people to go ahead and click. But the main reason why we have these streams is to try to find the few people out there that are like us that are looking for a place to go. I mean, I don't know how many of us are out there, but hopefully whatever if there's truthers out there that haven't reached the ending point, right? That Jesus is our Lord and Savior, and that's the only way we profit from the truth, right? The truth doesn't profit you anything unless you know that Jesus is our Lord, right? Like you without his sacrifice we can't make it, right? That's the only way. And it's not a message of condemnation, but one of truth, right? And that's what some lady said on Larry King when Joel Osteen couldn't say what the gospel was, And the lady said it like amazing, right? Like Jesus is the only way to salvation, and that's not a statement of condemnation, but one of truth. And the only reason that I say that, right, is because I want people to join us, right? In heaven, right? I don't make up the rules. The world is going to be the way it is regardless of what I believe, right? And so it only helps, I'm talking to the people that would be lost or new, it only helps you to believe that Jesus died for our sins so that we can go to heaven. I mean, God punished himself, for our mistake, and so I think that that's a beautiful thing. And I want to carry on in the afterlife. I want to carry on in perfect contentment for eternity. That sounds wonderful, especially if you've ever been tired or hungry or in pain or watched anyone else go through that, right? Um, we're going to finally reach a point where God's going to make us incorruptible so that we could, we can thank him the right way by giving him our worship, and his glory. And so I'll just say that, thank you guys for coming, and God bless you, and praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 o'clock.